Okay, all right. I welcome you once again to this lecture series of econometrics. In our previous lecture, we discussed about the concept of adjusted R squared and unadjusted R squared. We also discussed the decomposition of the sum of squares, and we tried to understand where adjusted R square should be used when we have to compare two models which differ in the which differ in their number of explanative variables, because unadjusted R squared is a non-decreasing function of the explanative variables. Or what precisely it means is that if you keep on adding the number of explanative variables in the model, your R square may or may not increase, but it will never decrease. And as we keep on adding the number of explanative variables in the model, as many number of parameters we have to estimate, and as many number of parameters you have to estimate, more number of degrees of freedom that you lose. And that's why the concept of adjusted R square is of very much importance. When you compare, especially when you compare the two models which differ in the number of explanative variables between them. Okay. So let us move forward, and today we try to understand some of the statistical properties of the least square estimators. And but prior to that, let me once again talk about the geometry of least squares, because this is very much important in order to understand what precisely actually we are talking about. And we have discussed about geometry of least squares in the earlier class as well. But let me give you very brief introduction to the geometry of least squares. So what precisely least square does is, for the sake of simplicity, I am only taking one variable model. So by one variable model, I need to talk about, I am writing my population regression function as So I have only one explanative variable x. So y is thought to be generated by a data generating process which looks like this, right? Now, what does geometry tell me over here? You see, this beta naught plus beta 1 xi is nothing but linear combination of, or some combination of this explanative vector x. So if I denote, let's say this is my x, right? Depending on what values of beta 1, that is the estimate that you have for this unknown population parameter, which is assumed to be constant, but you don't know, so you try to estimate this. So depending on the estimate that you get for beta 1, you can have multiple number of combination or some combination of this x. So let me say that I have one combination over here, I have another combination over here, and we already know that this bx is nothing but your y hat, that is estimated value of y condition on the data matrix. So I have a y hat over here, I can also have a y hat over here, and let me take, I also have a y hat over here. So these y hat tells you that for different values of beta, that is beta hat, not beta, we get different values of conditional value of y given on x. So I have y hat, these are the three possible values that I have talked about. So and the original y lies outside the column space of x, or combination of x that we have formed. So let me say that here somewhere I have y. So one possibility I have is this. Another possibility that I have is this. And one other possibility that I have, that I purposely drawn like this, is this. Right? Now all of these, they combinedly, or they somehow they represent the error term, which we don't know. So again I can say that this can be written as E. This is one type of E. This is also an error, and this also is an error. Now the principle of least square estimator is what? You have to choose such value of beta hat, that is, you have to choose such value of estimator which takes you as close as possible to the actual y values, right? Getting this y hat, or this combination of x, as close as possible to the actual y means you want to minimize the distance between them, right? And minimization of distance between these two vectors lead to the formation of normal equations that you have. That is, out of all these possible combination of y hat, y hat, y hat, I have to choose such value of beta which makes the distance between the actual y and the estimated value of y minimum, and that's why when you draw perpendicular from this actual vector y to this combination of y hat, this becomes your residuals or errors. And then our principle says that we have to minimize the sum of squared residuals, and that's how the algebra of least square goes. But this is the rough, intuition behind geometry of least square. आप इसको आगे बढ़ा सकते हैं. You can take, let's say 2 number of explanative variables. In that case, I can simply think of this as, this is my x1, this is my x2, beta 1 x1, beta 2 x2 plus, or if I say that beta naught plus beta 1 x1 plus beta 2 x2. So beta 1 x1 plus beta 2 x2 is nothing but the linear combination using these two vectors x1 and x2. And we had discussed about this, that any linear combination of two vectors also lies in the column space spanned by these two vectors, right? So, let me say that this is I can say beta 1 x1 plus beta 2 x2. In short, I can write it as y hat. So this is the y hat that I get. And actual y lies outside the column space spanned by these x1 and x2. So let me say that this is my actual y hat. And in that case, this becomes my residual according to the least square. So this is what your geometry of least square looks like. That, if at all the dependent variable also lied in the column space of x, then there is no use of, there is no talk about the error term. Because all the variation in y can be easily explained by using this linear combination of the explanative variables that we have used. But precisely, because y does not lie in the column space spanned by the explanative variables, that's where, errors form a very, very important portion in our econometric model. Okay, so I hope that this thing is clear to you what exactly, and that's why, one of the most important conditions that we had, talked about in our previous classes, that the, explanatory vectors and the residual term, they are orthogonal to each other. Orthogonal to each other, that is, they lie completely at an angle of 90 degree, or the angle between two vectors is 90 degree. So, and that condition of orthogonality is written as x transpose E is equal to 0. So, ये चीजें याद रखिएगा. We move forward now. Okay. So, as we have built our model, the real random part of the model is nothing but the error term or unobservable error term. And once we try to estimate those unknown population parameters, our estimators also become a random variable, because as you keep on changing the sample values, your estimator will be different, because estimator is composed of the sample values that we have. So you keep on, changing the sample values, you get different estimators. So in this way, your estimators also become a random variable. So finding out any properties of our estimators is equivalent to saying that we have to first find out the properties of the error, or you can say the assumptions of the error, or the way we assume our error terms to behave in the model will also influence the statistical properties of the OLS, or you can say least square estimators. So what I precisely want to say is, any statistical property of the estimator depends how the error term in the model behaves, right? Okay. So there are certain assumptions that we talk about that we assume. Those are the assumptions that we have already talked about in our assumptions of CLRM. But these are the assumptions that we need so that inference procedures can be drawn. So first assumption is your X is assumed to be non-stochastic and has full column rank. What it means is your inference, once we find our estimator and then we go for the inference, that is, we try to infer certain things from those estimator. So inference procedures, depend on the sample values that you have taken. So once you have a particular sample, then all the values of the data matrix can be or are assumed to be fixed. You keep on changing the sample, but still once you talk about one particular sample on which you are trying to draw the inference, so for that particular sample, the values or the elements of the data matrix are assumed to be fixed. That's what I mean to talk about X is assumed to be non-stochastic and has full column rank. And second assumption that we have is about the error term. So we assume that expected value of error term is 0 and this is nothing but variance of mu is, or you can say variance covariance matrix of error term is assumed to be something like this. And you must understand this U is a vector. And when you apply expectation to a vector or to a matrix, expectation gets implied or applied to all the respective elements of the vector or matrices. So this U consists of a vector. If I have n number of observations, so I'll have n number of error terms. So it implies that expected value of U1 is 0, expected value of U2 is 0, expected value of U3 is 0, so on till expected value of nth observation, nth error term is also 0. And this implies that this is a very, very strong assumption. It says that it is composed of two assumptions. We have talked about this as spherical disturbances. So it says that my error terms are homoscedastic, that is, all the error terms or all the error observations are or have equal variance, and they are also pairwise uncorrelated, that is, they are also non-autocorrelated. So on the basis of these two assumptions, we will derive the mean and variance of OLS, or you can say least square estimators. Okay. So our solution for beta was this, right? Now this y can be replaced by your sample regression function. So I can write it as x transpose x inverse or population regression function. I can write it like this. Y is replaced by your population regression function. So these terms become right. Now this is A inverse times A, so this will become identity matrix. Identity matrix multiplied by the population parameter vector, that is beta. So this term will become identity matrix. So I can write this as I'm sure you understand this point. I can write this is the solution for, or this is the normal equation for your least square estimator, right? So B is written as x transpose x inverse x transpose y. Y is replaced by the population regression function x beta plus mu. And once you do this normal multiplication, you'll get this term. This is A, if I assume this to be A, matrix A. So A inverse times, times A is nothing but identity matrix. So identity matrix multiplied by vector will remain unchanged. So I written beta and this term as it is, right? अब इसको intuitive समझिए क्या बोलता है? This is your estimator. Right? This is the estimator for what? Estimator for this unknown population parameter vector beta. So what it says is the estimator contains the population parameter which we want to estimate plus a linear function of the errors of the model. You see? Why I'm saying this is a linear function, you must understand that this whole thing is non-stochastic here. So this can assume to be, a particular, a coefficient attached with this error of the model. So what it says that, it is not necessary that for one particular sample or one particular case, the values of estimators that you get will necessarily be equal to the actual unknown population parameter. No one can guarantee this. But one property of least square estimator which makes us think like that property is called as unbiasedness. We'll talk about sample properties of estimators in one particular lecture completely. But for now, let us understand this thing. What it says is that your least square estimator contains the estimate of the population parameter, or this estimate contains the population parameter plus a term which deviates these least square estimator from the actual population parameter. And this extent of deviation depends on the form of the error observations and also values assumed by your explanatory variables. You must understand that extent of that deviation will depend on what kind of error observations you have and what are the values of this explanatory variables in the model. So the extent of variation depends on these two things. So please remember this point. Now I was talking about unbiasedness. Unbiasedness is a small sample property which says that the average or expected value of the estimator is equal to the true population parameter. That's what unbiasedness is. What it says that कि एक sample का होना जरूरी नहीं है, पर when you take let's say 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 samples like that, and you take expected value of all such sample values, so that expected value of all such sample values, in this case your estimators, will be equal to the true unknown population parameter. That is a property of unbiasedness. We will discuss about small sample and large sample properties of estimators. For now, let us move forward. So ये point clear है? इसको मैं ऊपर लिखता हूँ. So I can write this as beta or b minus beta as x transpose x inverse x transpose mu. If I take expectation both the sides, so अगर मैं expectation लेता हूँ both the sides, so you should understand that these are the non-stochastic terms. They are the constant terms. So expectation operator simply a random variable पे लगेगा. Simply either I can write it as expected value of b minus beta can be written as x transpose x inverse x transpose expected value of mu. और अभी हमने क्या assume किया था that expected value of mu is 0. So this whole term is 0. So I can write this as expected value of b, or expected value of a constant will be constant itself, so it can be written as this. This is your property of unbiasedness. And mind you, this is a small sample property. We'll discuss about this thing in detail when we are to discuss the properties of estimators in small sample and large sample. So I hope this point is clear. That by default, on the assumptions that were made, the estimator, least square estimator, is an unbiased estimator of the true unknown population parameter. ठीक है? Okay, so ये आपका mean of B भी हो गया. Right? Okay, let us move forward then. Now, for variance of B, I can write this thing as right? और अभी हमने B minus beta क्या देखा था? ये था. So B minus beta multiplied by B minus beta transpose, so it can be written as x transpose x inverse x transpose mu, और इसका सारे का ट्रांसपोज. So ये प्रोडक्ट है तो प्रोडक्ट का रिवर्स हो जाएगा ट्रांसपोज में. So mu का ट्रांसपोज will be mu transpose. It will become x, and इसका inverse it will remain like that. Right? Now look at this one. These terms will behave as if they are non-stochastic, because when we draw inferences, we assume, or for that particular inference, the sample values are assumed to be fixed. So So I can simply take this expectation on this random variable part. So I can write it as x transpose x inverse x transpose expected value of mu transpose x transpose x inverse. राइट ये टर्म क्या है? अभी हमने अज्यूम क्या था? दिस इज नथिंग बट वेरिएंस कोवेरिएंस ऑफ द एरर टर्म, and variance covariance of the error term is assumed to be sigma square multiplied with identity matrix. So I can simply think of it as अब ये सिग्मा स्क्वायर में बाहर लिख सकता हूं इजीली. Now this will become x transpose x inverse x transpose x. So this term will be identity. What I'm saying is I can take this sigma square because it is assumed to be constant. It is also constant. So sigma square taken out. So now I'll have x transpose x inverse. This is one term. X transpose multiplied by x. So x transpose x pre-multiplied by x inverse. It will give me identity matrix. And only this term is left now. So x transpose x inverse. This is your variance of B. ठीक है? बट दो चीजें हमेशा क्लियर रहनी चाहिए माइंड में कि फर्स्ट थिंग द assumption of x being non-stochastic is working over here. That's why you are able to take this expectation easily to only the random variable part, right? And second thing is the spherical disturbance assumption of the error term. So आपको समझ में आनी चाहिए कि if there is any violation of the spherical disturbance assumption, it will have direct implication on variance of B. Variance of B means what? Variability of your OLS or least square estimators that we get. अब variability मुझे सबसे ज्यादा कहाँ पे जरूरत होता है? जब हम confidence interval, hypothesis testing, inferences की बात कर रहे होते हैं, right? So इस variance को derive करने के लिए we have assumed the spherical disturbances of the error term. अगर वो चीजें violate हो रही हैं, then this variance or the variance of beta or will no longer be this term. ठीक है? ये बात है, याद रखिएगा. Okay. So we have talked about mean of B and variance of B. Let me write it. So what we have just found out is that B आगे चल के हम इसको प्रूव करेंगे और आगे चल के हम देखेंगे कि नॉर्मली डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड रहता है as long as you assume your error terms to be normally distributed. So B is assumed to be normally distributed. इसका mean value क्या है? Beta, and variance is given as sigma square x transpose x inverse. Remember all these points because these points will again be discussed while we talk about hypothesis testing. Because ultimately what you do is, even you have test of significance or you have any type of hypothesis that you test, statistic and its mean and standard deviation is one of the most important thing, because your entire test is based on all these on these two measures on these two important parameters of distribution. So as long as our error terms follows a normal distribution, we'll talk about this in later class. Since B is some linear combination of your error terms, so B will also be a normally distributed random variable with mean beta and variance given as sigma square x transpose x inverse. I hope this is clear to you. Okay. So just for the sake of simplicity, let me just take a short example so that these things become absolutely clear. What are we doing? What are we talking about? So let us talk about an example. So say I have some data on dependent variable and two independent variables, right? So let me write the data point first. So let me say that the y values are given as 3, 1, 8, 3, 5, right? And let's say x, your data x1 is vector 3, 1, 5, 2, 4. x2 is 5 4 6 4 6, राइट। सिंपल है कि हमारे पास वेरिएबल पे डेटा है, उसमें एक डिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल है y और दो हमारे पास इंडिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल्स हैं x1 एंड x2, राइट। So first thing that we do is we assume a population regression function to be existing for such kind of data. That is, we assume that this data has been generated by a population regression function which is linear in nature, and whereby by linear we are talking about linearity in parameters, right? So इसका data matrix कैसा लगेगा? You know, by default the first column will always consist of column of ones. So let me write my data matrix as 1 1 1 1 1. What it says is I have 5 number of observations on explanative variable x1 and explanative variable x2. So the column of 1, the first column of ones is used to incorporate for the intercept term in the population regression function. Then I have 3 1 5 2 4. Then I have 5 4 6 4 6. Right? Chalega? I'll erase these two now. Okay. Now the first thing that if you remember from our class, our x transpose x is a very important quantity, because it is used in calculation of variance, it is used in calculation of your OLS estimators. So x transpose x हम पहले ही देख लेते हैं क्या होता है. तो if you remember, if you recollect, x transpose x के जो elements थे in this 2 variable model or 3 variable model, it will be n summation x1 summation x2, and ये सिमेट्रिक और सिमेट्रिक मैट्रिक्स है, तो जो यहाँ पे रो है वही यहाँ पे कॉलम भी होगा, राइट. सेकेंड टर्म विल बी व्हाट? सेकेंड टर्म here will be summation x1 x2 no, I'm really sorry, summation x1 square, then I'll have summation x1 x2, सिमेट्रिक है तो ये जो होगा वही ये भी होगा, and then I'll have summation x2 square. So this is my x transpose x, and these are nothing but all the values that you already have. So first element क्या होगा? हमारे पास 5 number of observations है, तो this will be 5. Second is what? Summation x1, that is sum of all the values of the first explanative variable. So I have 3 4 plus 5 9 to 11 4 15. So I write it as 15, and mind you अगर सिमेट्रिक है तो ये भी 15 हो जाएगा easily. ये क्या है? 5 plus summation x2 is nothing but sum of all the values of second explanative variable. So 5 plus 4 9 plus 6 15 plus 29 25. ठीक है? Now this is summation x1 square. So first you square all the values of the first explanative variable, and then you take the sum. So this x1 square will become, I am writing it here, it will become 9 1 25 4 16. Now this will be 6 plus 4 10 15 16 5 2 1 3 plus 2 5. So I have 55. So I can replace this as 55. And summation x1 x2 will be what? First you multiply these two explanative variables, and then you take sum. So I am writing it here, 3 into 5 15 4 30 8 24. So this is 8 plus 4 12 4 16 2 2 2 4, so it's 81. So summation x1 x2 will be 81, right? अब इसी तरह आप समझ सकते हैं समेशन x2 स्क्वायर क्या होगा, आप ये स्क्वायर कर लीजिए and then you take the sum. So let me write it here only. Summation x2 square that I get is 129. So ये x transpose x आ गया, चलेगा? Okay. Now what is our beta? Our b is, or the solution that we had got was x transpose xb is equal to x transpose y. So मुझे x transpose y भी चाहिए, ये मेरा x है, इसका ट्रांसपोज कीजिएगा तो फर्स्ट रो विल बी कॉलम रो ऑफ 1, सेकंड रो विल बी दिस कॉलम, थर्ड रो विल बी दिस कॉलम, एंड दिस x transpose multiplied by y. Simple. So I'll just write the x transpose y. So x transpose y that we get is 20, 76 and 109। ठीक है, सो x ट्रांसपोज y आ गया, ये मेरा x ट्रांसपोज x है और मैं इजीली अब नॉर्मल इक्वेशन को लिख सकता हूं इस टर्म में। सो लेट मी राइट माय नॉर्मल इक्वेशन नाउ। सो माय नॉर्मल इक्वेशन विल लुक लाइक 5, 15, 25 it must be equal to right, x transpose x multiplied by b must be equal to x transpose y, right। अब इसको सॉल्व एक्सेल में कर सकते हैं, सॉफ्टवेयर भी सेम चीज करता है, तो आप या मैनुअली करते हैं तो आपको मैट्रिक्स मेथड आना चाहिए इसको, यू नो थ्रू रो इन्वर्सन or elimination we reduce either one of the rows or one of the columns consisting of 0। so ये easily solve हो जाएगा। I'll just solve it for you। so you see the element of the second row, first element of the second row and first element of the third row, they are some multiple of this first element of the first row, right। so what I do, I perform two operations over here। I replace row 2 by row 2 minus 3 times r1, and another operation that I do is I replace r3 by r3 minus 5 times r1। so these are the two operations that I perform on these matrices। so क्या होगा अब ये row 2 minus 3 times r1, so row 2 is this minus 3 times this, so 3 to 5 15, 45 75, so 15 minus 15 will be 0, 55 minus 75 will be minus 20, and similarly we'll do this। so let me write it here, I now erase this। so after performing these two operations, the next thing that I get is 5, 15, 25, 0, 10, 6, 0, 6, 4, right। this b1, b2, b3 must be equal to, right hand side पे भी सारे expressions होंगे, so it will become 20, 19, 6, right। last operation is I replace r3 row 3 as row 3 minus 6 by 10 times r2। so क्या होगा, मुझे यहाँ पे भी 0 आ जाएगा, so I have one row in which two elements consist of 0, and then I can easily solve this। so row 3 I replace by row 3 minus 6 tenth of r2, so what you will get is, I write it here, 5, 15, 25, 0, 10, 6, 0, 0, 0.4 I am getting, yeah। and here I am getting 20, 19 and minus 0.6, yeah। so now it can be easily solved। let me erase this or erase all of this and get to the final equation। so I have this as final terms। we'll look at now row 3। so what is happening, row 3 multiplied by any this column vector, so what I'll have, only I'll have 0.4 times b3, right। so 0.4 times b3 must be equal to minus 0.6, so 0.4 b3 must be equal to minus 0.6। if you solve this it will become minus 1.5। so I've got one value of estimator b3 as minus 1.5। similarly you put b3 का value आपको पता चल गया, तो second row multiplied by this column will be beta 1 times 0, 10 b2 minus or plus 6 times minus 1.5 must be equal to 19। when you solve that you get b2 value as 2.5 and b1 easily can be written as 4। so these are the OLS estimator values that we get। now let us understand how do we exactly write our population regression function। So our population regression function or estimated value of y can be written as y hat 4 plus 2.5x2 minus 1.5x3. So this is the exact estimated value of y conditional on x values. Okay? And this is precisely what we have talked about till now, and this is the example through which we can understand all of this. Chalega? Okay. So, and the same thing you can also do with, if you remember, equation in deviation form. If you know, most of the time our interest lies on the slope coefficients. So, you know, we can easily do away with the intercept term by writing equation in deviation form and follow the same process, right? So, जब equation in deviation form के through भी कीजिएगा तो आपको same regression आएगा. And आप इससे यहाँ से ESS और RSS भी easily आप calculate कर सकते हैं. If you remember, when we write our equation in deviation form, my ESS is nothing but, you know, B star transpose X star transpose X star B, right? But you must understand this X star is nothing but A times X. But A क्या था ये मेरा? What was A? A was transformation matrix. It transforms when it gets pre-multiplied by any vector or any matrices. It transforms each of the elements in its deviation form, right? So you can easily follow that. I'll strongly recommend you to solve this question using deviation form and find out ESS, RSS, and R square of the regression for this particular example. It will help you a lot. So I'll stop over here, and in the next class we talk about the inference, or you can say hypothesis, or testing at least linear hypothesis using least square estimate.